16 biggest mistakes Meghan made that Princess Catherine never would. The lives and roles of Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and Princess Catherine, Princess of Wales within the British royal family have been a subject of intense public fascination and scrutiny. While both women married into an institution steeped in centuries of tradition and protocol, their contrasting approaches to navigating the demands of royal life could not be more different. Meghan, the former actress and outspoken advocate, has been widely perceived as a disruptor of long-standing royal norms, often pushing boundaries and challenging the conventions that have defined the monarchy for generations. In contrast, Princess Catherine, the future queen consort, has been praised for her seamless integration into the royal fold and her adherence to the protocols and traditions that have shaped the British monarchy for centuries. In this video, we'll explore 16 key mistakes Meghan made that Princess Catherine never would. Number 1. Speaking out about personal struggles publicly. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, made headlines when she candidly discussed her struggles with mental health and the perceived lack of support she received from the royal institution during her groundbreaking interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2021. This open and vulnerable approach stood in stark contrast to the traditional protocol upheld by Princess Catherine, Princess of Wales, who has largely maintained privacy around personal matters. While Meghan's decision to speak out about her personal challenges was praised by some as a courageous step towards destigmatizing mental health issues, it also drew criticism from those who viewed it as a breach of the discretion expected of royals. This criticism was particularly notable in the wake of the late Queen Elizabeth's emphasis on maintaining a stiff upper lip in the face of adversity, a value that Princess Catherine has embodied throughout her time in the royal spotlight. Number 2. Media relations. Meghan's relationship with the media has been marked by a confrontational stance, with the Duchess taking legal action against several publishers for invasion of privacy. This combative approach stands in stark contrast to the royal family's long-standing tradition of maintaining a measured distance from the press while occasionally granting carefully curated interviews and appearances. Princess Catherine, on the other hand, has navigated the media landscape with a deft touch, mirroring the approach of her late grandmother-in-law, Queen Elizabeth, and her husband's mother, Princess Diana. Like these iconic figures, Princess Catherine has maintained a respectful yet reserved relationship with the media, understanding the delicate balance between public interest and personal privacy that's expected of the monarchy. Number 3. Family feuds going public. One of the most high-profile aspects of Meghan's time as a royal has been the public airing of her family disputes, particularly with her estranged father, Thomas Markle. From his media interviews to the release of a private letter between them, the Markle family drama played out in the public eye, much to the dismay of royal traditionalists. In contrast, Princess Catherine has managed to keep any family disagreements firmly out of the public eye, a feat that aligns with the long-held royal tradition of maintaining a united front and keeping domestic matters private. Even during the highly publicized fallout between Princes William and Harry, the Princess of Wales has remained steadfastly silent on any potential family rifts, following in the footsteps of the late Queen Elizabeth. Number 4. Breaking protocol. Throughout her tenure as a working royal, Meghan was frequently reported to have broken long-standing royal protocols, from expressing political opinions to engaging in public displays of affection more frequently than is customary for members of the monarchy. From expressing support for specific candidates to weighing in on controversial topics like Brexit, these perceived breaches of protocol were often contrasted with Princess Catherine's adherence to the established norms and traditions of royal life. In contrast, Princess Catherine's approach has been to adapt to the demands of her role while respecting the established traditions, much like her husband, Prince William, who is himself an heir to the throne and understands the importance of upholding the monarchy's customs. Number 5. Adapting to royal duties. Critics have argued that Meghan did not fully embrace or adapt to the demands and responsibilities of her role as a senior royal before deciding to step back from those duties in 2020. This perceived lack of commitment to the monarchy's core mission has been contrasted with Princess Catherine's gradual and successful integration into her royal responsibilities. From the outset, Meghan was seen as eager to forge her own path within the royal family, taking on diverse charitable causes and initiatives. However, this independent streak was also viewed by some as a reluctance to fully immerse herself in the traditional duties and obligations of royal life. In contrast, Princess Catherine's approach has been one of steady progression, gradually taking on more substantial workloads as she and Prince William prepared for their future roles. Number 6. Respecting royal hierarchies. From reports of tension with palace staff to allegations of disregarding the established order of precedence, Meghan was often portrayed as struggling to adapt to the complex web of traditions and rank that define the monarchy. In contrast, Princess Catherine, Princess of Wales, has been widely praised for her deft navigation of these hierarchies, a skill she's honed over years of careful observation and guidance. Much like the late Queen Elizabeth II, who was renowned for her unwavering adherence to royal protocol, Princess Catherine has demonstrated a deep respect for the customs and conventions that have shaped the monarchy for centuries. Number 7. Public perception of family integration. Meghan's integration into the royal family has been portrayed as a challenging and, at times, tumultuous process, with reports of rifts and tensions among various factions of the Windsor clan. This narrative stands in stark contrast to the relatively smooth transition that Princess Catherine has been seen to make, bolstered by a strong support system within the family. While Meghan's struggles to find her footing within the royal fold were heavily scrutinized by the media, Princess Catherine's early years as a member of the monarchy were marked by a more gradual and understated approach. Guided by the experienced matriarchs of the family, including the late Queen Elizabeth herself, Princess Catherine navigated the complexities of royal life with a poise and grace that endeared her to the public and the monarchy alike. Number 8. Media strategy. The contrasting approaches to media relations adopted by the Sussexes and the Cambridges have been a subject of much discussion. Meghan and Prince Harry's decision to engage directly with certain media outlets, granting interviews and collaborating on projects like their Netflix docuseries, marked a significant departure from the more cautious and controlled approach favored by Princess Catherine and Prince William. The Prince and Princess of Wales have continued to follow the long-standing media strategy championed by King Charles during his time as the heir apparent, carefully curating their engagements with select media outlets and focusing primarily on the royal family's charitable initiatives and public duties. This more traditional approach is seen as a way to maintain control over the narrative and preserve the dignity of the monarchy. Number 9. Fashion choices. While Princess Catherine, Princess of Wales, has been widely praised for her impeccable sense of style, which strikes a balance between modern flair and adherence to royal expectations, Meghan has occasionally faced criticism for her fashion choices. From perceived breaches of protocol to concerns over the expense of her wardrobe, Meghan's sartorial selections have been subject to heightened scrutiny. One of the most notable instances of Meghan's fashion-related controversies involved her decision to wear a daring off-the-shoulder dress to a formal event, a choice that was deemed by some as inappropriate for a member of the royal family. In contrast, Princess Catherine has been lauded for her ability to push the boundaries of royal fashion while remaining respectful of the monarchy's traditions. Number 10. Privacy concerns. Meghan's outspoken concerns about privacy and her desire for a more private life, which ultimately led to her and Prince Harry's decision to step back from their senior royal roles, have been a source of controversy. This stance was seen by some as a departure from the traditional expectations of royal life, which often demand a sacrifice of personal privacy for the greater good of the monarchy. The late Queen Elizabeth was widely admired for her ability to maintain a sense of privacy and dignity despite the constant glare of the public spotlight, a skill that Princess Catherine, Princess of Wales, has also demonstrated. By navigating her privacy within the traditional royal framework, Princess Catherine has garnered respect for her ability to balance the demands of public life with the need for personal boundaries. In contrast, Meghan's decision to prioritize her privacy over her royal duties was viewed by critics as a rejection of the sacrifices inherent in being a member of the monarchy. However, her supporters argue that her stance was a necessary step towards protecting her mental health and well-being in the face of intense media scrutiny. Number 11. Public engagements. Meghan's approach to public engagements and the causes she chose to support were sometimes seen as at odds with the traditional apolitical nature of the British monarchy. From advocacy for progressive causes to candid discussions of sensitive social issues, Meghan's outspoken stances were viewed by some as a departure from the monarchy's commitment to neutrality. In contrast, Princess Catherine, Princess of Wales, has carefully curated her public engagements and charitable work to align closely with the royal family's long-standing commitments. Following in the footsteps of the late Queen Elizabeth, whose decades-long patronages focused on unifying themes like military service and environmental conservation, Princess Catherine has built a profile rooted in causes that resonate with the monarchy's core values. Number 12. Handling of criticism. When faced with criticism or negative media narratives, Meghan's approach has been markedly different from that of Princess Catherine. While the Duchess of Sussex has been willing to directly challenge and respond to criticism, often through legal means or public statements, the Princess of Wales has maintained a more reserved and stoic stance. This contrast was particularly evident in the aftermath of Meghan's bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey, where she openly addressed allegations of mistreatment by the royal institution. Princess Catherine, on the other hand, has consistently adopted a more circumspect approach, avoiding public commentary on controversies or criticism directed at her or the royal family. Number 13. Social media use. The Sussexes' embrace of social media as a means of directly communicating with the public was seen as a significant departure from royal norms. Meghan and Prince Harry's use of platforms like Instagram to share personal updates and promote their charitable initiatives was viewed by some as a refreshing modernization of the monarchy's communication strategy. However, this approach also drew criticism from those who felt it undermined the traditional protocols and hierarchies that have long governed the royal family's media presence. In contrast, Princess Catherine has adhered to the more conventional approach of using official royal channels and carefully curated social media accounts to disseminate information and updates. Number 14. Residence choices. Meghan and Prince Harry's decision to relocate first to Canada and then to the United States was a seismic shift that broke from centuries of royal tradition. By establishing a permanent residence outside of the United Kingdom, the Sussexes effectively distanced themselves from the heart of the monarchy and the long-standing customs that have defined royal life. In contrast, Princess Catherine has embraced the traditional residences associated with members of the royal family. From her early years at Kensington Palace to her current role as the future Princess of Wales at Adelaide Cottage on the Windsor estate, this commitment to living within the geographic center of the monarchy reinforces Princess Catherine's adherence to the customs and expectations that have shaped the lives of British royals for generations. Number 15. Relationship with staff. Reports of Meghan's allegedly difficult relationships with members of the royal staff have been a source of controversy, with allegations of bullying and mistreatment surfacing in the media. These claims stood in stark contrast to the reports surrounding Princess Catherine's interactions with her staff, which have generally portrayed her as a respectful and cordial employer. The late Queen Elizabeth was widely admired for her ability to maintain strong and long-standing relationships with her staff, many of whom served her for decades. Princess Catherine's reported positive relationships with her employees are seen as a continuation of this tradition, reinforcing her commitment to upholding the values and expectations of the monarchy. Number 16. Approach to tradition. Perhaps the most fundamental difference between Meghan and Princess Catherine lies in their respective approaches to the long-standing traditions that define the British monarchy. While Meghan has been willing to question and challenge these traditions, often pushing for modernization and reform, Princess Catherine has chosen to adapt and adhere to these customs more closely. Meghan's willingness to break from tradition has been both praised and criticized, with supporters arguing that her fresh perspective is necessary for the monarchy's continued relevance, while detractors view her approach as a threat to the institution's core values and continuity. In contrast, Princess Catherine has embraced the role of a traditional royal, carefully navigating the complex web of protocols and expectations that have governed the monarchy for centuries. By respecting and upholding these traditions, she's positioned herself as a steward of the monarchy's enduring legacy, much like the late Queen Elizabeth, whose unwavering commitment to duty and custom defined her historic reign. From speaking openly about personal struggles to her controversial media strategy, from breaking royal protocol to her perceived lack of respect for hierarchies within the firm, Meghan's actions have often been viewed as departures from the long-established norms upheld by the late Queen Elizabeth and other senior members of the royal family. On the other hand, Princess Catherine has navigated her role with grace and poise, adhering closely to tradition while still managing to modernize her public image and champion important causes. Like her late mother-in-law, Princess Diana, Princess Catherine has struck a skillful balance between tradition and progress, endearing herself to the public while respecting the protocols of the centuries-old institution she married into. But what do you think? Do you see Meghan's actions as a refreshing breath of fresh air for the royals, or a disrespectful break from cherished customs? And what about Princess Catherine? Is her traditional approach outdated, or a necessary preservation of the institution's integrity? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more exciting royal content. Until next time, bye, and thanks for watching.